were managing what $1.6 billion, that too back in 2005, and from that too I witnessed you receiving 2 Guinness World Records. I think you are that ye dil mange more types fellow kya? How was this all journey all about?
I think it was a it was a beautiful journey. If I look back, why does it take people? It is a message, electronic message that has to go across because the plumbing is so orthodox.
So if you are saying that there's a technology that you have developed through which if I were to buy some stocks from you, the stocks will fly from your account to my account, or will move, I must say, a better word, in what, a second?
Why do you need to have a custodian and a broker and a technology provider and a depository participant and maybe why even an exchange?
Instead of me buying an Apple stock, me buying a tokenized version of Apple stock, what is the difference? Like something can be hacked, can tokenized stocks also be hacked?
Prices
So
over
is
there.
this like a barter that you are talking about?
The world is going to go back to barter. India is one of the biggest consumer for all the fashion brands. We are consuming products from across the world. I use a US Apple phone. I use a tablet from Samsung. We are Louis Vuitton coming from somewhere else. Why don't I invest in all those things?
Almost more than 95% of my portfolio is completely in India, right? If I were to diversify, what would be your top 3 countries, or top 3 sectors, or top 3 themes, whatever you are comfortable with? You did mention about regulators across the globe, but what about SEBI? So tomorrow, if the regulator says that enough, no tokenized stocks henceforth, what will happen to the tokenized stocks that I've bought through here? If I start investing through your company and आपका कल mood change हो गया तो what if you decide to shut down the business? Today on our podcast, we have someone whose journey I find truly inspiring. Mr. Tajinder Virk, founder and CEO of Dealing.com and co-founder and group CEO of Finvasia Group. He has also been named among Entrepreneur Middle East's top 100 NRIs. Now, before co-founding Finvasia, Mr. Virk managed multi-billion-dollar hedge fund strategies on Wall Street. Then he walked away from that to build something fantastic. Today, he runs Finvasia Group with platforms spanning across Europe, Africa, North America, Australia, and the GCC. Under his leadership, Dealing.com has grown into a global investment platform offering access to over 70,000 investment opportunities across 15 plus global markets, all from a single account. Recently, Dealing.com and Blockmaze won not one but 2 Guinness World Records on the same stage. And today, we are going to discuss a range of topics with him, like his top 3 thematic investments, what the future of investment looks like, and can stocks be programmed? So there's a lot to learn in today's podcast. So keep on watching the podcast till the end. Tajinder, I met you for the first time, I think just 2 to 3 weeks ago in Dubai. And I must say that I was really amazed to listen to your journey where you were managing what $1.6 billion, that too back in 2005. And from that to I witnessed you receiving 2 Guinness World Records. I think you are that ye dil mange more types fellow kya? Here people manage millions of dollars. You are not happy with millions or you want billions. People would be really happy if they get one Guinness Book of World Record. You had two. So I mean, what is that all journey all about? Where you were a part of the Wall Street, yes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And from there to your entrepreneurial stint and getting those 2 Guinness World Records. How was this all journey all about?
I think it was a it was a beautiful journey. If I look back, it's been about good 20 years or so in that respect. So we were, I was working on Wall Street. We were managing money for Fortis Bank back then. It was worth $1.6 billion across the world. And back in the days, if you are a trader or a portfolio manager on a Wall Street, you were treated like a rock star.
Oh, okay.
So it was a different experience altogether. Things changed after the financial crisis happened. Um, but we know, me and my brother, we both know when we went to US, ki, let's do our education, let's do our experience, and then you have to go back to India.
Okay.
And
Actually, you
then-
were very clear back then only.
We were very clear back then.
Okay.
Spend some time, get the experience, get the exposure, then come back to India, and then start to build something. The problem was when we decided we want to come back to India, so we were At Fortis, I actually saw what people used to see in Wall Street.
Mm.
The movies that you've seen, where people are picking up their boxes and
Yeah.
leaving the office.
Yeah.
We saw that because we
Mm.
were one of the most successful,
Mm.
portfolio managers, or the team that we had in terms of profit making for the bank.
Mm.
We were not let go. But every morning I would come to the office and I would see, five, six, 10 people picking up their boxes, leaving
Oops.
the bank.
Mm.
I saw firsthand. One of my colleague at that point was an ex MD at Beer Stearns,
Mm.
and he was then working at Fortis, and more than 90% of his portfolio was in Beer Stearns stock.
Oh God.
And we were trading, and we were doing what we are supposed to do for the bank, and suddenly the next day the stock went down to $2. He lost 99% of his entire wealth per se,
My
because most of his wealth was in the stock.
Mm.
We've seen Lehman Brother
Mm.
collapse at the same time. So it was very interesting time. It was very, um, it gives you an experience of the
Mm.
limitation of capitalistic societies. Um, but then we had to come back to India, and I put my resignation in.
Mm.
I initially put my resignation in, then the executive director asked me to take my resignation back.
Mm.
I took it back, spent another 6 months,
Oh.
and then I was like, no, I'm done. I'm leaving. So that's how we finally got back. But the problem was that I was right after the recession in US.
Mm.
The recession was hitting India.
Mm.
The I only understood capital markets because I was
Yeah.
an MBA finance and Wall Street guy, and the Indian capital markets had dried out. 80% of the volume had disappeared. There's nothing happening in the capital market. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody calls it a casino.
Mm.
And then I have to figure out what should I do with it. So we started Finvasia with the whole idea that already there are people in US who understand that we can manage money well.
Mm.
So let's become a wealth manager and let's start managing money for hedge funds and these family offices while sitting in India.
Okay.
That's how the
Okay.
whole journey started,
Hmm.
and we got into this because we had no other option.
So generally, for entrepreneurs, people say that they identify a gap. They find that, oh, this is some problem that we need to solve, and that is the reason why, due to that, main something which is missing, basically. That's what the entrepreneurs see, and then they build a product and get started. So for you, it was nothing like that. You said,
No, I don't think there's always an aha movement. I think
oh wow. Mm.
things just happen. Sometimes they just happen. You go with the flow and they happen. And you realize it when you look backwards that,
Mm. Mm.
maybe the decisions I took,
Mm.
and you improvise. When
Yeah.
you make those decisions, you don't know what's happening. And along the way, you get feedbacks, you improvise, you find out, I've done this thing wrong. Maybe, I'll do it like this.
Mm.
And then looking backward, you realize, okay, maybe I did the right decisions at that point. I did what I should be doing. And
Mm.
looking backwards, it looks very nice and rosy.
Mm.
Looking forward, it felt a little bit uncertain that you
Yeah.
are sitting at the top of the world and you're
Mm.
starting something from scratch in the
True.
middle of a recession. But then, if you look at most of the companies, successful companies in the world, they all started in recession.
Mm. Okay. Very interesting.
Microsoft,
Mm.
Facebook, Apple, like all of
Mm.
these companies are started during recession.
Mm.
There are
Interesting.
benefits to recession.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have cheaper talent. You have,
Mm.
everything is easier. Mistakes are not very expensive. The expectations are very low from your product.
Mm.
The adoption is slow, so you
Mm.
can improvise faster. So there are
Mm.
benefits to starting in a recession.
Wow. I mean, generally people look at this word in a very negative way, and you looked at it in such a positive sense that you why not look at recession as an opportunity and get good talent at maybe cheaper prices and start something which can really change the way investing is done. But you said you started as a wealth management firm. Did you pivot from there, or what happened next?
We were managing money
Mhm.
across the world. So back in the days, we were managing money across 14 different countries for
Mhm.
different funds. Um, my brokerage bill was very high in India. That was my biggest problem.
Mm.
Back in the days, they used to be 1,000 rupees per crore, 5,000 rupees per crore.
Mm.
And when I look at the return of my portfolio, I'm like, why am I paying so much money to my broker? It does not make. He's not doing anything for me.
Mm.
Like, what is he doing? He's giving me a platform or a software. I can make softwares myself.
Mm.
So we got the tickets to the exchanges so we can reduce our cost, our bill to manage wealth, and as a result can give better returns to our investors. Then one of my employee gave me an idea, since you already have this, why don't you start a brokerage business? And the challenge was, if you want to start a brokerage business, let's have a purpose and a reason for it. This industry is dead from at least a decade. This industry is dead. I mean, we are walking the last mile.
Really?
If you look at the evolution of this industry in general, before 1985 or 1987 crisis, brokerage used to be an ancillary service of an investment bank. It was never a primary business or an industry in that respect. After that, there is a new slew of brokers that came in, which were selling pink stocks, pink listed stocks, and they would get part of the money of whatever stocks they sell. We've seen all of that on Wolf of Wall Street.
Movies, yeah.
I've been to some of those floors as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'll go to that in future as we talk. Then that whole thing ended when 1997, 98, 99 happened. There was this new breed of broker that were zero brokerage and per ticket.
Yeah.
Per trade we will charge you $5. Per trade we will charge you $10. E Trade and those kind of guys in the world. And then there was competition from Quest Trade and other guys that made it $2 per trade and stuff like that. Then all of those guys disappeared after 15 years or so, and then we see another stream of brokers coming in, like Robin Hood, or Shunya in India, which is again a platform owned by us in that respect. But it's an they revolutionized by creating something called zero commission. At Shunya, we went too far. We made everything zero, but this is the journey, and you look at it, every 15 years the names disappear. Majority of those brokerage names disappear. Why do they disappear? Because most of these brokers are losing their clients to losses.
Okay.
And the losses happen because we are the way I look at all of these things is, we are basically creating a set of innovation that is not in the best interest of the client.
Okay.
Take, for example, there are about 58,000 stocks in the world. That represents about $150 trillion of assets in the world. Um, at any given point of time, in any given market, any given major market, you would see millions of tradable instruments.
Okay.
What are they? Somebody came in and said, you're maybe tired of buying stocks. I will give you something that you buy this. If the stocks goes up, you will make money. If the stocks goes down, you will not lose money. And they gave it a name, call option. And then there was put option. And then there is futures. And then there are binary options. Then there are now finally prediction markets coming in. And they're all zero sum game.
True.
And this is where majority of the investment is also happening. It is not investment, it's trading that is happening.
Correct.
What is happening in zero sum game? In zero sum game, it means that if you buy something and I sell something, one of us has to lose money for the other person to make money.
Absolutely.
But both of us will have to pay brokerage.
True.
Both of us will have to pay stamp duty.
True.
Both of us will have to pay, all of those spreads that come in between that. So both of us are going to lose money. How is that different from a roulette table? If you go to a casino, you're playing on a roulette table. There are 36 boxes over there, and then there is a single zero and a double zero. You put money in every box over there, you will still lose 5%. It looks very similar. Now, certainly, if you have call options and put options and futures and binary options and CFDs and all of these things, it looks like a roulette table, a blackjack table, teen patti table, all of these tables, and that is why people rightly are calling stock market a casino market. While if you look at it, the majority of the money in the world has been made from stocks. We've seen the Rakesh Jhunjhunwalas of the world. We've seen the Warren Buffetts of the world. But they invested in stocks at large. Correct. They made most of the money from buying stocks. So the innovation went into a direction that was more gamification. As a result, all the regulators across the world, major regulators across the world, forced the brokers to display on their website what is the percentage of people losing money on your platform, and that number ranges between 75% to 95%.
Yeah. Correct.
So technically, you have a product where you're innovating in a direction where majority of your traders are losing money. As a result, you have to keep on spending money on marketing to
Hmm.
get more traders again and again,
Hmm.
and at some point there's a fatigue,
Hmm.
and then a new slew of brokerage industry players come into it, and the cycle is going on and on and on.
But as an entrepreneur, do you feel that there is a solution here?
Yes,
What could that
I think solution is, first of all, the innovation has to be in the right direction.
be? Hmm.
There are things in this industry that haven't changed from last 100 years.
Mhm.
So let's say, for example, something that changed. I remember, like I said earlier, I remember back in the days, I used to go to New York Stock Exchange's pit.
Hmm.
There are people sitting over there and screaming and shouting with piece of papers in their
Hmm.
hand.
Hmm.
Before that, people actually used to run from their office to New York Stock Exchange. They would
Uh-huh.
have offices around it.
Uh-huh.
They will sign the piece of paper and the
Okay.
exchange would happen. This is before the dematerialization
Hmm.
happened.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then there was dematerialization
Correct.
happen. Then we have, all of the other plumbing that happens. For example, custodians and clearing and depository participants and technology providers.
Correct.
All of these come in as plumbing within this whole direct market access.
Mhm.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah. True.
But should that not change? That increases your cost.
But then, for example, if I, what did you say, I buy an XYZ stock
Mhm.
from National Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange, right? So I must have a broker who can actually, help me with this entire process. There has to be a DP, a depository participant. There has to be an actual demat account that I must open. There has to be a depository. There has to be a clearing house. What about all these things? I mean, you're saying they can
Why
be.
do they have to be there? They
Mm,
have to be there because if you look at it very simplistically,
mm,
two things are happening. One is that any stock that you purchase
mm,
is not something that you hold physically,
mm,
it's a database.
mm.
And you want the database to propagate eventually to the company whose stock it is.
Correct.
So it goes through all of these chains and all of these layers. Second is the stock is not intelligent. The
Mm,
stock does not know that you own me,
correct.
but that has changed now. We
So,
have programmable money and
mm,
we have programmable stocks, which is called tokenized stocks.
I'm not a tech person. Wait. So you are saying that if I purchase a stock, so right now, whenever I purchase a stock, I don't know from whom I'm buying.
Yeah.
Correct. And there has to be a broker, there has to be an exchange who actually facilitates all these things, and then it understands that okay, the stock has to be removed from XYZ person's account, has to go through a clearing process, and then it has to come and sit into my demat account, right? You're saying that the stock can be programmed.
The stock can be programmed. That is number one. Number two, if you think of it very simplistically, it is a technical message
uh,
that is going from your computer to five different computers as
mm,
electronic message,
mm.
and the settlement is happening because of that. Why does this electronic message circulation takes 48 hours?
T plus 2 is what you're
Why
referring to.
exactly? Why does it take T plus 2?
Mm.
It is a message, electronic message that has to go across because the plumbing is so orthodox.
Wow, sorry, I'm cutting you, but I can just imagine something like this, that like we have GPay these days, right?
Mhm.
So in a second, money can go from my account to your account.
Exactly. Why can a stock
Similarly,
not go?
oh wow. Okay, so you thought about this, that.
We have worked on it. We recently got the Guinness Book of World Record
Mhm.
for doing this for 70% of the global stock market
Okay.
under a single, blockchain protocol that we've built
So,
called
so you are
Blockmaze.
saying you have already achieved that.
We've achieved that already.
So for example, like I told you that if I'll not give an example that I send you money. In my examples also I always receive money. Okay, so if you send me money, then your bank account will be debited. Same second, or maybe next second, my bank account will be credited.
Mm.
So if you are saying that there's a technology that you have developed through which, if I were to buy some stocks from you, the s- the stocks will fly from your account to my account, or will move, I must say a better word, in what, a second?
6 seconds is what we're taking right now.
In 6 seconds.
We are hoping to go below 1 second.
This is beyond my imagination. How can this happen?
And the most interesting thing is it is approved by the regulators. We are approved by ESMA in EU. We are approved in ESCA in UAE. We are
Okay.
getting further approvals as well.
Okay.
to put this thing, because the way regulator sees, when they see this entire technology that we are using, they see, yes, you are basically moving a stock.
Correct.
If you're basically moving a stock and you are a broker,
Uh-huh.
you can do that. It
No,
is
but then
almost,
you are a broker or you are an exchange, or who are you in that case?
do we even need them? The question is,
Hmm.
why do you need this orthodox plumbing? Why do you need to have a custodian and a broker and a technology provider and a depository participant, and maybe why even an exchange? Okay, there's a part of it that we need regulations
Correct.
to control this. There has to be
Absolutely.
anti-money laundering rules applied. There has to be, a lot of regulations that are
Correct.
applied
Correct.
onto, these financial transactions.
Mhm.
As long as those financial transactions abide by all of this,
Mhm.
what stops me from settling it in 6 seconds versus going through five different participants,
Mhm.
paying each one of them clearing fee, custody fee, exchange fees, and all of those things? Why am I forced to do that?
Okay. Okay. Uh, Tell me one thing. So is it something like a P2P that is happening
It
right now,
is it
peer to peer? So
it is going to be peer to peer, wherein it is regulated, but it is peer to peer. That eventually, that is where the world is going to go. So right now we already hear that a lot of exchanges are feeling the burnt
mhm.
across different parts of the world. New York Stock Exchange is also trying to tokenize the stocks on its platform. They are evaluating that whole process right now.
Mhm.
Um, there are countries where stock exchanges are exploring, why do we even need brokers? Why cannot we onboard the clients directly? So, somewhere or the other, everybody feels that this whole transition is overdue. Point is, who will take the lead and who will
Mm.
build the cat? So what we spent last few years building and what we received our world record also for is by showing that we can do it for 70% of the stock market across the world. So it could be done at scale,
Mhm.
which represents over $100 trillion of assets
Mm.
that have been is represented on the token.
Mhm.
So it could be done at scale, it could be done with speed, and it could service a very vast majority of people by disintermediating a lot of intermediaries over there.
Wow. Okay. I've started to digest a little bit, but let me ask you an example. I think.
Mhm,
Okay, you just mentioned something called as tokenization right now.
mhm.
If I can get that first, and then
Sure,
I continue with my example.
sure. Um, Back in the days, when you buy a stock, you would get a physical certificate.
Correct.
That physical certificate changes itself into something called dematerialized form,
Absolutely.
electronic form of the
True.
stock. Today, it sounds very obvious.
Mm.
It didn't sound obvious back then.
So true.
Then you moved on to the exchanges, and exchanges moved on from this paper records to something called UDP.
Mhm.
UDP is a protocol in which exchanges matches the messages of buying and selling
Mhm.
and settles the whole so it's a technology evolution.
Correct.
What I'm saying is the next evolution is tokenization,
Mhm.
which is what regulators have approved of,
Mhm.
which is what people are getting used to and familiarized already. People
Mhm.
are transacting in that already. And this is a natural evolution that will help clean up some of that plumbing that we already see
Mm.
in the stock market.
Okay. But my question actually still remains is that when, let's take an example, if I buy an Apple stock,
Mhm.
okay, instead of me buying an Apple stock, me buying a tokenized version of Apple stock, what is the difference? Because I understand if I buy an Apple stock, maybe the electronic version, something like in a dematerialized format, is what will get credited. But how the tokenized stock is going to be different?
So first thing is, where does it get credited to?
Okay.
Is it getting credited into your broker's omnibus account? Is it
Mhm.
getting credited to your demat account? Let's say, whatever form that is getting into it. When you're buying an Apple stock, you're actually buying an electronic form or a data record,
Mhm.
which means that there is a record that you have bought the Apple stock.
Correct.
When you're buying a token, it is the same thing. There is a record that you have bought the stock.
Mhm.
You have the rights to the underlying stock. You can transfer the stock to any one of your custodian that you want. You get all the benefits of dividends and mergers and acquisition stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Now, take another example.
Mhm.
Have you heard about fractional stocks?
Absolutely. That's allowed even today for US
Exactly.
stocks, right?
But can you transfer zero point 0.4 of Apple share from one custodian to another custodian?
Not sure.
You cannot.
Okay.
Because when you're buying a fractional share,
Mm.
you just have a data entry on the broker's ledger.
Okay.
You don't have that physically that zero point 0.4 of Apple share. But when that Apple share is tokenized,
Okay.
you can transfer even 0.0001 of Apple share from one account to another because it is in tokenized form and the data is written on the blockchain.
That's where the blockchain comes into picture.
That's where blockchain comes into picture.
So, like for a normal person to understand, we have registrar and transfer agents, RTAs, who will keep the accounting and bookkeeping and all that, right? So, who has how many shares, who has how many units of mutual fund. Instead of having these entities, you are saying now that entire thing can be programmed through a blockchain, where who owns the ownership of those stocks or of those tokenized stocks, who sold it to who sold it further to some other person. Everything will be on the blockchain.
Everything is, and the reason you need these intermediaries to someone to validate and verify that yes, you have agreed to this and the other party has agreed to this, and that is why this transaction is happening. On blockchain, this record is already maintained by thousands of people across the
Correct.
world, and the data is available transparently to for everyone to see. So you don't need those intermediaries because the agreement is already written on the chain, and the
Okay.
transaction and the transfer is already written on the chain. It's immutable. It
Okay.
cannot be changed. Once it is on the chain, it cannot be changed.
So, going back to your Guinness Book World Record, right? You got one for the blockchain, is it? For developing this technology through which shares can pass from one account, the tokenized stocks from one account to other. Is that so?
We also got a Guinness Book of World Record for Block Maze,
Okay.
which is our blockchain protocol, our blockchain technology that we have built. It's open source. It's not for profit. It's for anyone to build anything on top of it that they want to do. And we got a Guinness Book of World Record in that because this was the first blockchain uh, that was integrated across all the five continents with with a very vast majority of regulators. So the reason it was so widely regulated and widely connected to all of these regulations makes it to begin with a very useful blockchain because now it is compliant, is regulated, recognized, or connected into multiple regulations across the world. So your transaction really truly becomes global because it goes through regulated channels across the world.
Okay. Okay. See, I'll tell you, like I mentioned earlier as well, I'm not a tech person, right? But the moment I'm hearing all these things that blockchain and this is, I can program this and that, is this something similar to crypto or is it different from crypto?
It's very similar to how people say let's get this thing xeroxed,
Okay.
but it means let's get this thing photostat.
Photocopy.
Let's get a photocopy of it. So I think that that word has changed in that aspect.
Okay.
Like Google means search,
Exactly.
but it does not mean search.
Yeah.
Google means 10 raised to the power of 200 or something like that. It's a mathematical notation. So when you say cryptos, it is cryptos basically means anything that is cryptographically programmed, anything that has a secret key into it to contain the message or
Okay.
to relay the message or to do transactions or stuff like that. But crypto got its name from the sense of everything that is Bitcoin is crypto, or everything that is blockchain is Bitcoin. That is not the case. It is almost like saying that everything that is Java is Android.
Got it.
Your phone runs on Java, your GPS runs on Java, your car has Java installed in it, your laptop, maybe firmware runs on Java or C++, but that is the technology that it uses. What you make of that technology is different.
Okay. Sure.
So using C++ to make, a watch, an electronic watch, is a totally different thing than using C++ to make a GPS. But you're still using C++.
Got
So
it.
blockchain is that technology, and cryptos is something that was made with that technology.
So with that same technology, something else can also be done.
Something else could also
And
be
which
done.
is what you have done with tokenized stocks.
Exactly.
Okay, so I can say again, just to reiterate the same point, maybe that blockchain is a technology. Crypto is like one of the product that was
It is
created with that technology.
Yeah.
You have created a different product
Yeah.
from that technology. Got it. Now, one thing again that comes to my mind is that, see, the moment people, so I totally understand that Tokenized stocks and crypto are two different things, totally different things. But still, that fear factor that like something can be hacked, can tokenized stocks also be hacked?
Anything can be hacked, but it depends how you look at that and what does that really mean. Does hacking means that you have lost your stocks, or does hacking means that you have a recourse to the underlying stocks? So what happens in crypto, when people think about crypto, they think about, oh, I can get hacked and I will lose my money.
Correct.
Because anybody can have a crypto account. You can have a crypto wallet where you're holding bitcoins or ethereum or solana or sui or whatever you want to hold. Nobody knows who owns that wallet. Nobody knows who stole money from you. He
Correct.
stole money, he went away. When you're buying or selling tokenized stocks, the wallet is associated with a person who's KYC'd.
Correct.
So
Correct.
in this case, I'll switch the example. Let's say I steal from you.
Okay.
So if I steal from you, you are known that you
Yeah.
are a person, I am a person. If I stole from you, you can legally take it back from me.
The person is
Because
traceable.
it's traceable. There's tracking, there's traceability. But then if you open up your bank account and you don't log out and somebody else comes and makes a transfer, that is still hacking, but you can get your money back. If you find out who this money went to, who was that person, you still have legal recourse.
Got it.
So in the same respect, in tokenized stocks, you have a legal recourse if something like that happens.
Sure, sure. You might have gotten a feeling that Rachana is asking too many negative questions to kickstart, but I'll tell you honestly. When I attended that amazing event in Dubai where Blockmaze is dealing, I think Finvasia, right? The
Finvasia, yeah.
main company's name. You got the Guinness Book World Records. I witnessed that, but when I had heard about those concepts of tokenized stocks for the very first time, I was like, ये है क्या exactly? Even I was not very sure, and that was the reason why I was really keen on interacting with you and understanding all these concepts one by one. But I think the way he put it was amazing. The simplest pointer that he said, that blockchain is like a technology. Through that technology, you can create different products. Like crypto can be one product, tokenized stock can be another product, right? So if a person were to buy stocks, and like you said, through dealing, a person, your company basically, uh, a person can get access to more than 70% of the stocks which are listed across the globe. Am I right? Yes.
Yeah.
My question is that why go ahead with tokenized stocks? Why not just buy normal stocks? Anyways, you're offering both. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
So on dealing, that is the whole idea. The world dealing itself, if you look at it, when you talk about any broker, you say, uh, there's a dealer, there's a dealing happening over here. Dealing is very fundamental to what is happening. As per the Oxford Dictionary, dealing means an exchange of financial instrument against a commodity, or some exchange of financial instrument or financial transaction is known as dealing in the financial terms as a verb under Oxford Dictionary. That's why we picked up this very specific word, dealing, and the product became dealing.com.
Okay.
Because we want to define and redefine how the dealing happens. And obviously, dealing has both regular stocks as well as tokenized stocks. You can do both if you want to do both. But there's a very categorical difference, in both of them, both in between the stocks on dealing and tokenized stocks on dealing, and how dealing operates itself. The difference is, one, dealing is regulated across the world. Okay. We have about 35 registrations, licensed financial registrations, and multiple other, licenses across Europe, across, African region, across Mauritius, across GCC, across Asia. In Japan, we have a license, and then there are other licenses that the group has across many other countries as well. So it's a globally licensed platform that has its own licenses all over the place. So we thought the most important thing is to first have the infrastructure that is approved by the regulator, so we can build something on it. So you can obviously go and buy stocks. But the challenge is all the challenges we spoke about. When you, let's say you buy a stock of Maruti, and you want to now buy a stock of Reliance, you will go, you will sell stock of Maruti, you will take
Absolutely.
cash from it,
Correct.
then you will buy stock of Reliance.
Correct.
So you did three transactions over there.
True.
But when you're transacting on a tokenized stock, you can directly switch from a Maruti stock to a Reliance stock in an atomic settlement. You don't have to go this whole route of transacting that. I'll give you more
No, no.
surprises
So
over
is
there.
this like a barter that you are talking about?
The world is going to go back to barter, and the barter is, how transactions should happen. Why do you have to have extra legs in the transaction? This is the old plumbing that is happening. Now imagine, when you buy a stock. Let's say you buy a stock. Let's say you're sitting in India. Giving another hypothetical example, you are sitting in India, but let's say you plan to move to US tomorrow. You've bought tokenized stocks, and you've bought tokenized stocks of Apple. When you go to US, are you going to then sell those tokenized stocks of Apple, get the money into your India brokerage account, then repatriate money to your US bank account and file the 15 CACB? Okay. That's such a long process. Yeah. But when you buy into a tokenized stock, you move to US, your tokenized stock or the underlying stock will settle into your US custody whenever you want. So you don't have to make those extra round trips when you're doing those things. Okay. Peer to peer transaction. You want to sell Maruti stock. I want to buy Maruti stock. You want to buy Reliance stock. I want to sell Reliance stock. Why cannot I just swap it with you? Why do I have to go through the whole, 10 yards of clearing and custody and, all of those things? Why does that have to happen? That doesn't need to happen. So there's peer to peer atomic settlement that can happen when you're doing tokenized. That's why I believe that this is going to change the way industry is going to operate. Go further into it. What are the other things that can happen? Right now, you own a stock. Then you go to a lawyer. You say, I have this $1 million of stock. I want my kids to inherit it. In 20 years, I might not be around. If I'm dead in 20 years, my kids should get the stock. So I'm going to write a will. Correct. And there could be, debates about my will between my kids. They might be fighting. They might say my father or mother was under influence when they did this. When you tokenize stocks, you can program that. Your stock is intelligent enough to know, I have been told by my master that in 20 years from now, I'm going to automatically check if my master is alive. If not, these are the wallets or these are the accounts of the kids. I'm automatically going to go and settle into those accounts. Your stock now has memory and intelligence. Wow. I mean, I can just, it's just soaking in slowly, steadily, because this is something beyond my imagination. That, so in short, can I say you're programming those stocks? You're programming the stocks. The stocks in itself become intelligent. We are moving into an intelligent world. We are moving into a world where 50% of the transactions will happen by AI. How are they going to do the transactions? They are going to be able to interact with something, agree on predefined rules and policies and procedures, agree on a logic, and then execute the transaction. So the financial instruments will have to become more intelligent. But the simple thing is, the world is going to get tokenized. The stocks are going to get tokenized. All of these benefits are going to come from tokenization of stocks, and it'll automatically do a overhaul of the whole plumbing issues that we have in the capital markets right now. But instantly, as of today, you have access to over 70% of the market capitalization of the world, because dealing has tokenized it for you. Today you can go and buy into those tokenized stocks on the platform, and it is there for you to do today. You don't have to think about what happens to my currency risk. How do I diversify? You want to buy a stock of Apple, you want to buy a stock of Toyota, you want to buy a stock of Aramco, the biggest Saudi company. You want to buy Maruti at the same time. You want to buy Rio Tinto in Brazil. You get exposure to Brazilian real, you get exposure to Japanese yen, you get exposure to Indian rupee, you get exposure to US dollar, you get exposure to euro. So now you have a basket of currencies. Yes. Your currency risk has gone away. Your diversification risk has gone away. Sometimes this market is doing, South Korea, North Korea, or South Korea is doing very well these days. Or last 1 year has been amazing for some Asian markets, but very bad for maybe Indian markets. But you are diversified. Now your diversification has a real meaning. There are about 58,000 stocks in the world, which represents about $150 trillion of total wealth that is out there in the world on these stocks. How much of that is represented in any one given country?
Interesting.
So if you're looking at a given country and you say that my entire capitalization of the entire stock market that I have is, let's say, $5 trillion,
Mhm.
but now I have a buffet that is worth $150 trillion,
Mhm.
your options go better. Plus, you are participating in the innovation that is happening in the world.
Correct.
Why not go and own the world? Why not
Mm.
go and be? Why do we have to sit over here and hope that the world is going to come into India as an FPI and
Mm.
invest in Indian stocks?
Mm.
That shift of power is already happening. We are consuming globally. We are one of the biggest consumers in the world. India is one of the biggest consumer for all the fashion brands.
Mhm.
India is sending more and more people to travel abroad
Mhm.
for vacations and stuff like that. We are consuming products from across the world. I
Correct.
drink a Starbucks coffee.
Mhm.
I use a US Apple phone.
Mhm.
I use a tablet from Samsung. I wear let's say a diesel jean
Mhm.
coming from Germany. I
Mhm.
wear Louis Vuitton coming
Mm.
from somewhere else. Why don't I invest in all those things?
Wow. True. But if I were to invest in all these things, so like I understand as a normal investor, whenever I invest in India,
Mhm.
there'll be a regulator, which will be SEBI. Like you pointed out, I'm investing in South Korean markets. I'm investing in, let's say, Japan. I'm investing in France or in US. Will my account be regulated by all these exchanges, by all the regulators from all these different countries?
So when you open an account with dealing,
Uh-huh.
your account gets opened at every. So when you open an account at dealing, right?
Okay.
Let's say your account gets opened in Europe.
Mhm.
That will be protected by the regulations of ESMA because
Okay.
we are licensed under them. We are audited by them. Your account
So ESMA is like their SEBI, is that
it's
so?
like their SEBI.
Okay.
If it is in UAE, it's by ESCA, which
Okay.
is Securities Commission of UAE in that
Okay.
respect. So we are licensed in those countries.
Mhm.
We are directly licensed. We are not taking somebody else's license or somebody else's, sub broker.
Mhm.
We are the financial institution that is onboarding you. So think
Oh,
of it.
you are not a sub broker. So what I was imagining till now is that maybe you, if I were to buy some American stock, you have tied up with some broker in USA and through which you are helping me get that stock. It's not that. You yourself are a broker.
with We ourselves are the financial institution. When you're opening an account with dealing,
Uh-huh.
your account is going to be by the regulated entity owned by dealing in that specific country. So in this example, let's say your account is open in Europe.
Mhm.
Your account is regulated by CYSEC,
Mhm.
which is Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission,
Mhm.
and you are entitled to all the protections of that regulation. Your account has to be segregated by that regulation. Your account gets the protection that it gets, and all of the regulatory stances that come into it.
Mhm.
So when you're opening an account with dealing, I am not sending your money to somebody else who is licensed in that country.
Mm.
When you're opening an account with dealing under one of the dealings international division, that division itself has a license in that country. We are not a sub broker. We own the licenses across all of these countries. They are our own licenses.
I'll be honest, I'm not able to visualize any parallel example of any other company that I know of who is directly doing this.
Think of it, if somebody else, like let's say Robin Hood
Uh,
comes to India and he has licenses all
Correct.
over the place,
Uh,
you would think of it in a similar sense in that respect.
okay. So you are saying that dealing will have individual broking license in all these different countries.
I call it more financial services license
Okay.
because there are certain things, the different meanings to it. But
Mm.
we have our own financial services licenses, which includes financial intermediation. We have our own investment bank in Mauritius. We have our own license in ESCA, which is UAE and in Europe and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Africa, South Africa, we have license over there.
Mhm.
So, there are different licenses
Mhm.
in those respective countries where your accounts are going to get opened up. You're protected by those regulations. And in India as well, we come via the gift city route, the the global provider license, the global access provider license, and the IFSA license. So wherever we go, we get the relevant licenses to make sure that we are servicing you as much directly as possible, so your cost is lower. I
Yeah,
mean, back in the
exactly.
days when we had these sub brokers, the cost was much higher.
Mm. So, if a person were to invest in Indian stocks only through dealing, is that possible right now or not yet?
Then you open an account with Shunya.
Okay, got it, got it. So, mainly you are saying that assume I already have a demat account in India where I'm buying Indian stocks, but I want to now diversify my portfolio across the globe through only one account. I don't want to open multiple accounts and I want an exposure to more than 70% of the stocks listed across the globe. Dealing can help me with that.
Dealing is where you open up an account, a simplified single account, where you get access to over 70% of the market capitalization of the global stocks in a single account. You don't have to have multiple accounts. You don't have to think about converting your money from one currency to another. You don't have to think about selling a Japanese stock, then waiting for 2 days to buy an American stock. You do all of that from a single account seamlessly, and however you want. You can even put your algos and EA strategies on it. You can create your own robots onto it. You can, everything that you do, you can do it over there.
Okay, one quick example. Let's say I fund my account with $100. Is that okay? I mean, is that $100 is fine, right? So I fund my account with $100 and I buy Apple stocks, tokenized stocks. And now let's say I want to sell Apple and I want to buy Samsung. So you're saying that it will not be like I'm selling Apple stocks, I'll get US dollars, then US dollars converted into the other currency, then nothing of that. Like we discussed some time ago, it will be as good as a barter where Apple stocks will be sold and Samsung stocks will be bought.
In some scenarios, yes. In some scenarios, no.
Okay.
So, for example, if there is nobody on the other side to do the barter, you still sell. But there's no settlement cycle. There's no 48 hours waiting for settlement in one country to happen, then money coming into your account, then you convert the money into Japanese yen, then you buy a Toyota stock. You will instantly sell Apple and you will instantly buy Toyota, either through a barter or converting your Apple stock into, let's say US dollar, and buying Toyota directly from US dollars.
Interesting. Okay. Now that I have, abhi ye dil mange more, now that is happening to me. There's a butterfly effect maybe. Uh, Now, if I were to diversify my portfolio into multiple countries now, wow, this is not something that I am as an investor. I'll be very honest. I can say that almost more than 95% of my portfolio is completely in India right now. So if I were to diversify, what would be your top three countries or top three sectors or top three themes, whatever you are comfortable with, which you could, not as an advice per se, but which you are really interested?
Not as an advice, I think, because things change very
Yeah.
fast and we can never predict the future.
Sure.
I think as of today, if I look at it, deep tech is going to be extremely important. Because the world is going to change much faster. So I would like to look at AI companies. I would like to look at semiconductor companies, especially the companies in East Asia where these semiconductors are built. I would like to look at um, you know. Travel in general, because the world is getting much more mobile right now than it was before. So deep tech for sure, travel for sure, and then I think the other one is more sustainability. Companies that are providing you with clean water. So there are companies that take water from ocean, desalinate that,
Correct.
and provide drinkable water.
Correct.
As the water shortage grows and as the other shortages grow, so these sustainability companies will become much important. And they're spread across the world. You'll find a lot of sustainability companies in Middle East, because the water is mostly taken from
Correct.
oceans over there. You'll find a lot of these semiconductor companies in Asia, because that's where the hub is for all of these things. You'll find a lot of deep tech happening in US, because that's where the funding happens for this deep tech. So if your portfolio is wide, and that is why you have to be on dealing for that, you can actually buy all of those things. And the question comes up is, when you travel for the first time to US, you don't know where to go in US.
Correct.
So someone will tell you, okay, go to New York, Times Square, go to maybe Florida, because you have this theme park over there, and go to this one or two places, right? The second time you go to US, you will say, I don't want to go to Times Square. I want to go and find out what is in Atlantic City, because you get comfortable. Right now, we are at a stage where people are asking about, can I buy into global ETFs? In that respect, dealing has about 12,000 global ETFs available on it. Okay. So
Outside
because
of the
that
stocks.
was going to be my next question, that people find it difficult to analyze Indian stocks only. Because first understanding the economy, then the industry, then going to specific stocks. There are so many people who go ahead and buy directly index ETFs. Yeah. So through dealing, can I buy index ETFs of different exchanges? So
you
something
can
like a
buy.
Nasdaq ETF.
There
Or
are ETFs available. There are about 12,000 ETFs available. You can go and buy into ETFs on different countries that are focusing on,
can an
or different
SIP be
industry.
done in ETFs through?
Yes, you can do
So
an
you can
SIP.
program that also.
You can program that if you want.
Okay.
But you don't have to program it. You can directly go on to dealing and create an SIP. So automatically that gets bought in on the platform on a regular basis.
Okay.
So we've done those kind of basic programmings for you.
Okay.
So you can use that. But I believe the next round is going to be, as you get more comfortable, then people are going to categorically ask for, I want to buy Micron, I want to buy ABC company, I want to buy this company. That is a familiarity that will come up. But the big difference over here is, once you start going internationally for a vacation, let's say for example, traveling international for a vacation will always be on your list.
Yeah.
Similarly, once you start diversifying your portfolio globally and internationally, you're going to look at international markets as the global platform that is available on a platter.
Correct.
That access is important. Simplifying of that access is important. And then making sure that the plumbing gets simpler and simpler by the day is important for it to grow and scale up.
Wow. I think I have digested a lot of concepts, but if I were to now ask you that in like a minute or two, if you were to explain one more time, why dealing.com? Can I say it will be nothing but, like you very well pointed out, that access in a single platter? Like in a single platter, I get to taste multiple dishes across the world. I can taste multiple stocks across the world through a single account with very less hassle, just by funding my account, maybe to kickstart, like we gave an example of $100, getting access to so many different stocks or even ETFs for that matter, even initiating an SIP, that is possible. Number three, I can say that still my account will be regulated, though it is opened outside India. That will be regulated through the regulatory
Relevant.
bodies
Exactly.
in the
Yeah.
relevant
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, all of this sounds pretty much dreamy right now. I don't think that I'm giving this podcast in the present. Feels like it's like 5 years away or 10 years, but you are saying it's already there right now.
It is already there right now. I think most important thing is regulation. We spent a lot of time getting these regulations, putting the operations together, making sure that we have the right approvals in place to service the right market. Because an average person spends 75% of his life awake hours trying to make money. It is very important that that money is protected by the regulation, invested on a regulated platform. So that was the key factor for us. And then the second thing comes up is, within staying within that boundary, can we innovate that enough and can we disrupt that enough? Uh, Simplify it and bring it together in a way that people can invest into it simply and should feel like the best innovations are the ones where you do not know, where you don't see the technology, you don't see the plumbing underneath it. You see everything as very simple. You know, on Google, there's just a search bar.
Yeah.
You click, you search. What is happening behind the scene, you do not know. On Apple, you go and touch. A touch and everything is. So the best innovations are the ones that are simplest enough, that makes things simpler.
Correct.
So that is what we are trying to achieve and trying to do. And
But whatever you've built through Blockmaze, the whole blockchain thing that you built, you made it simple. Is that an open source? Can anyone, if someone else feels that even I want to give it a try?
It is an open source. It is it is a foundation, not for profit foundation, and anyone can build on top of it.
I think the world is only going to get better if people are going to use that technology, um, and technology should be shared for masses to grow and build on top of it.
Super. You did mention about regulators across the globe, but what about SEBI?
So the regulation for servicing clients in India, um, because I'm not a compliance person, I might be missing a piece here and there, and I don't want to be. There are regulations in Gift City, global access provider, and IFSA licenses, which are already something that is part of dealings processes.
Okay.
And then there are LRS,
Yeah.
liberalized remittance scheme, against which you can send money abroad, even if you're sending it to Gift City. It
Correct.
comes under LRS. It has the cap of how much you can invest, but I think the cap is fairly liberal. It covers 99% of the world's requirement
Correct.
per se, or India's requirement per se, as of today, for 99% of the investors. So I think it's fairly well covered in that respect.
So dealing is also listed under the Gift City IFSCA
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. I'll be very honest. I just feel like being in a dreamy world right now. That I just feel like it's too much a futuristic thing. Okay, I can do this, I can do that. But what if I start investing through dealing.com? Don't mind, I'm asking this question. But if I start investing through your company and आपका कल mood change हो गया तो what if you decide to shut down the business? Then what happens to my tokenized stocks?
The same way that you go with any other financial services company, क्योंकि हम because we are licensed, you're protected by the regulation. Your account is segregated by the regulation. It is held separately. It cannot be mixed up with the company's assets. Just like it happens in India or any other country. There are protections to your account up to $35,000 or $50,000, depending upon the country that the funds are held into. We are also exploring the option of having additional insurances on top of it, going up to $1 million per account, which hopefully will be ready very shortly. So there is protection to your account, and it is segregated by law. So
Okay.
even if we decide to shut down the business tomorrow or to move away, your stocks are there segregated.
Segregated
Same,
where?
segregated at the custodian. So let's say if it is a tokenized stock, the tokenized stocks is segregated under a trust.
Under a trust.
It is under
Okay.
a trust.
Okay.
So you go to the trust,
Mhm.
give your tokens, and receive the underlying stocks.
Interesting. Okay.
So you are segregated and protected in that respect. It is not mingled up with the assets of the company. If you're trading regular stocks, then also you have the respective segregations and the respective government protections that would come to anybody else who's investing in that market locally, as if you're in that country.
Okay. So you're saying that there is protection for
There
this
is
also.
protection from
No.
the
So
regulations.
even if your mood changes, it is okay. If
It
you want
is
to shut down.
absolutely fine.
But then, what if the regulator's mood changes? I mean, I'm going too far.
No, please.
But
Yeah.
just asking all these questions because ultimately it's the investor's hard-earned money, right? If a person were to invest with confidence, all what ifs I feel should be
It
answered.
is important.
So tomorrow, if the regulator says that enough, no tokenized stocks henceforth, what will happen to the tokenized stocks that I've bought through your account?
It has happened before as well. For example, P notes in India that were
Absolutely.
internationally. Regulators can change the stance, and that is why all the tokenized stocks are convertible into the underlying standard stocks at any point at will. You can go back to the same trust and say, I have these three Apple stocks in the tokenized format, convert these tokens into a physical or demat stocks, and send it to my dematerialized account that I have with custodian A, B, and C.
Okay.
So you can convert that token into an underlying stock, and even vice versa. If you have a stock of Apple, you can transfer that stock of Apple to the trust, receive the tokenized share against that.
Okay.
So they are fully fungible into each other. So if something changes in future, you can undo that. And as of today, it is regulated. So today, if you're buying a tokenized stock, you're approved by the regulator and you're authorized by the regulator. You're doing what is approved and what regulators say you can do.
Okay.
Tomorrow, if regulator says that from tomorrow onwards, no more tokenized stocks, you put your tokenized stocks and you receive the underlying physical because they're fungible. Okay. And you're no more in tokenized stocks. Fungible as in convertible. Convertible. Okay. Where tokenized stocks can convert into physical demat stocks and vice versa. Okay. Well. But if I were to change them from tokenized stocks to regular stocks, are there any charges involved? Wait. So, okay, let me rephrase. Uh, this is one charges, agreed, which I could think of immediately from tokenized stocks to normal stocks. But in general, also, right? It does happen that initially it feels like all goody goody, but then I get to know that I'm funding my account, agreed. If I want to withdraw, again, there are certain charges. There are certain additional charges which I may not be able to think of, but they are actually debited from my account. So how does the charges structure work? So in India, when you're trading, you have to pay stamp duty or STTs or CTT, and there are government charges that come
Lot of
along with it.
charges.
Wherever, whatever country you go in, they have different charges. For
Correct.
example, Hong Kong has its own stamp duty, US has its own. So those charges are part of your charges depending on the country that you're going
Correct.
into. See, what we discussed at the very initial stages when we start talking about it, that brokerage is not a business. There is no reason to be looking at volumes and transaction volumes because mathematically that decreases your probability of making money. So it does not have to be driven by how much you're trading, but yes, the more clients we have, the more assets are built up over there. We've shown time and again using different brands of Finvasia that as you grow in the size of the business, in number of clients, the small little savings that you make add up significantly and you become a much stronger participant in the industry. So instead of me trying to make the most from one or two clients, I rather make very little from 100 clients. And that is where the business is going to be long term sustainable because then there's no conflict of interest between me. The biggest challenge we have right now for the brokerage industry is that we need more volume to make more money. By generating more volume,
Correct.
we either increase it proportionately the number of clients that we have or have the same client trade more. And the
Correct.
result is again and again 75% 95% people end up
Absolutely.
losing money. So that is what we're trying to stay away from. Amazing. Is there anything? I think you have a banking like bank related something as well. Yes, I remember reading it vaguely. Yeah, we do have our own EMIs. We have our digital banking, okay, solutions that we provide in Europe, in Middle East as well. We have Bahrain and the countries. Okay. They do add up. For the certain countries that we can provide, we do provide you a bank account as well along with the dealing account. They add up because that is both horizontal and vertical integration. Because ultimately, if it is about a company, I agree that it's about innovation, doing something path breaking. But of course, top line, ke liye, you would want to earn through different sources, right? And that is how you talked about the EMI. As long as it is so small that it doesn't matter. True. You know. And it is not dependent or creating some sort of a conflict with the end user. As long as those things hold, we are fine, and we've shown that time and again. For example, when we started Shunya in India, the question was, how are you going to make money if you don't charge brokerage? When I look at Zulu Trade, the largest social trading platform in the world, we've made it zero cost, free already. It used to have charges of almost equivalent of 1200 rupees per crore. Okay. When we acquired that business, we took it down to zero. So we've shown that time and again that with volume, you can create synergies and you can create value with volume. So that is why both horizontal and vertical integration is important. It is important to make money for sure. We are in the business to make money. But can we make money where we don't destroy value is the bigger question. Wow, so starting from why people lose money, tackling that, and still making some decent enough money in the business, right? Now my mood is changing also. We talked about the company's mood changing, the regulator's mood changing. Now my mood is changing. If I were to invest through your dealing account, is it only stocks and ETFs or now again ye dil mange more? Could it be different asset classes as well? You have planned or are they already there on your platform? We have, and we are going to add more asset classes. Both of those things are going to happen,
Okay.
depending on country and jurisdiction, what we can offer. We do have, our own social trading platform, one of the oldest social trading platform in the world, called Zulu Trade, which is also part of dealing. We have our wealth management portal within dealing. Thematic investments is also going to be part of it. So there are things that we are adding up into it that is already there. Algo trading, you want to do high frequency trading. On dealing, you can do that as well, um, without the difficulty of getting every strategy approved in that respect. Um, so those things are there already. It's beyond stocks. It's beyond stocks, and it's beyond just access or just trading on your own. There are other products that help you also invest within as a part of dealing. And hopefully, as we grow, we are going to add a lot more. The basic theme of dealing is invest beyond the obvious.
Wow.
So, the obvious is done and dusted, and now we're trying to capture the unobvious things, whether it's tokenized stocks or uh, you know even themes on tokenized stocks, or the largest social trading platform in the world. And there are more things that we will unveil as we roll them out.
Superb. I think I'll be honest. I mean, you are a very good speaker. Your answers were like really amazing, to the point. I had written all these things, right? I had so many pages with me. I didn't even think about reading, going through the questions. Your answers were so much free flowing that I literally felt like a student. Today is Guru Purnima as I shoot the video. So it literally felt like learning so many futuristic things from you, but which you have already done in the present. And I'm sure you plan a lot to roll out in the future as well. So thanks a lot for taking out this time. Before we wrap up today's discussion, any closing thoughts?
Uh, First and most important, I think it was amazing to be here.
Thanks.
Your intelligence goes, very wide, and what you are doing to educate people, it's amazing. It's worth admiring that. As a closing thought, I believe this industry is going to change. We are going to see significant shifts coming in the industry. Um, we need to be open to innovation. India is growing very fast. We have to be part of the global story. We need to earn and own part of those innovations in the world, and not just consume them. So we should go beyond just consuming and just being a global consumer, to being a global investor, to owning the pie of innovation wherever that's happening in the world. And we hope we will play our part into that.
Amazing.